We are currently live on Facebook and YouTube.
Fantastic. And you can hear us okay?
I can. I had a very important resident at home, Noah Etzel, viewing this to make sure that we were live on YouTube. So.
Thank you, Noah.
Oh, I don't have my gavel, but that's
One in there? I got you.
Well,
Listen, you can't have a meeting without a gavel.
it usually is over by the speaker there. Is it over there?
Somebody put it away.
Oh, perfect.
So it's back.
Wow, that
That's
feels
what I
symbolic, like we're actually back.
I know.
Not even
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, if we're ready. Welcome everyone to our experiment of hybrid meeting solutions. We have what do we call it?
It's a panoramic view of the
Panoramic
boardroom.
view with the owl.
Please drop comments on any of our social media or in the Zoom if you see any issues with the audio or the visual. But for right now, we've got the board here, meeting in person, and we still have the capability of streaming to social media and having all of our attendees here via Zoom. This is our first test, so we're not publicly open, but hopefully for the next meeting, if you'd like to join us, we'll have a sign-up form to be here in attendance.
All right, and I will ask Deputy Supervisor Green to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Karen. It was nice for us to come to the flag rather than me bringing the flag to me.
Yes.
So thank you very much for that. We are going to begin the meeting with our open podium. The one person who is listed is Jillian Mcguire. And I don't know if Jillian is on board.
She is. I will promote her to the as a panelist right now, so you can see her up on the screen. Hold on one second.
And I'm getting some live feedback. If you could project a little bit more, it would be helpful.
All right, I will.
Everybody,
Okay. While we're waiting for Jillian.
Hold on one second. John, I think you're going to have to make me a host of the meeting. If you could go ahead and promote Jillian to panelist.
Okay, you should be the host now.
Okay.
All right, Jillian, hopefully you can hear me. Welcome aboard for our meeting tonight. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. The open podium, we usually give 5 minutes because we never know how many more people are going to be coming on, and we do this for the first 15 minutes of our meeting. So we're already 3 minutes into it, but I'll give you a break there, but well, please.
It's okay, I talk fast.
Address the board regarding what you'd like to speak with us about.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time tonight. My name is Jillian Mcguire. I currently live in Fremont, which is right off of North Burdick Street. And as far as I can tell, Fremont is not a village or a hamlet or any sort of discernible legal term other than a neighborhood. But it's a great neighborhood and we really like living there. One of the things that I think could really improve the neighborhood of Fremont and the greater suburb of the town of Manlius would be bike trails. So what I had asked for some time today to do is to talk about the possibility of increasing the bike trails in the town of Manlius, specifically around the Fremont area. And where I would really like to start is with Bowman Road. For anyone familiar with Fremont, off of North Burdick, there are 5 different neighborhoods. 3 of those are connected by Bowman Road, and then the other 2 are just across North Burdick Street. And it's a short distance from Bowman to the Erie Canal. Right now, Bowman in particular is a really big hazard. It has about I think it's about a 6-inch shoulder of that's paved and then a little bit of gravel. So if you're a runner, you're kind of half on the pavement, half on the gravel. If you're a biker, forget it. It's really difficult. And I grew up in this neighborhood, and I remember one of my good friends was hit by a car on Bowman Road. I think there are accidents frequently. It's scary. I've got young kids and I would never let them bike on Bowman because it is so dangerous. One of the things that, in talking to some neighbors and to talking to some people in this neighborhood, which is Fremont Hills, in Clark Hill, in New Fremont Hills, if there were a bike trail on that road, it would connect a lot of other business entities and a lot of neighborhoods. It would allow our residents to get to the Erie Canal more easily and more safely. It would allow us to connect to each other's neighborhoods, which right now one of the neighborhoods has a pass through, but none of the others do. It would allow us to connect to the Fremont Elementary, to Lower Fremont area, to the businesses on 290. Most importantly, to Red Apple, which has like the most delicious ice cream in the area. And it would be a very helpful boost to, I think, our economy, our community. I think it dovetails with the Syracuse City initiative for building and promoting bike trails, which of course helps the environment, helps the community, helps all of our health. And so what I'm asking the board to do is for some guidance. I think the residents in this area are willing to put in the legwork. I think, if petitions are helpful, if letters of intent are helpful. I know that we had a meeting with some counselors, which we're very grateful for your time this past week to come and listen to some of our concerns. I don't believe that it's necessary to put a sidewalk in. I think a bike trail or a widening of the road would accomplish the goal, but we just want to make sure that there's a safe way for families and for individuals to be able to travel on that road. So that's what I came here to talk about, and I'm happy to hear any feedback from the board.
Thank you, Jillian. Way under limit, that was good. Can they hear me all right, John? I know it said
just try to project as much as possible.
Jillian, yes, Bowman Road, and Rob, I know you're in the background. That is a town road, correct? Yep, he's nodding yes.
No, that's correct, Ed. Yeah, it's a town road. Not sure if it's a road by use or if it's a dedicated road. Little history on Bowman Road. Remember back in the 70s, that road only went from Burdick Street into the landfill. That was kind of just a general, somewhat paved road at the time for the landfill. And then about early 80s, I believe, that road was dragged all the way through. I'm sure, doing some homework, we'd be able to find out, what the right of ways are there and or if it is a road by use.
So that was didn't always go all the way to 290, you're saying? Okay.
No, that's correct. Yeah, it just came into the landfill for, a lot of years. It was just an access for the landfill from Burdick Street. So, obviously over the years, the subdivisions were put in. And then, the town decided to take that road all the way through. I believe Boots, did the subdivisions off of Bowman Road. So I think that was part of it. Again, I don't know how the dedication, certainly before my time, but I remember actually going to the landfill. It was only a half a road. I'm giving away my age a little bit, but yeah, it's certainly something we can look into. We can find out what we've got for road widths and that type of thing there. Again, we've got some ditches down through there, and there are some obstacles, but certainly it's something we can look into.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great, Rob. Because I can attest to what Jillian's saying, having both run and ridden my bike on there. And the running's not too bad because you see the cars coming at you. But when you're biking, you're always looking over your shoulder, and it is tricky on that road because it's fairly narrow, I think, too. So if it's something we can look into, it's not like a district or anything. It's just we want to try to do a bike trail of some kind there. Yes.
I think we look at it, just look to widen the shoulder there, Ed. I don't know, that's something, again, we can talk with the engineers and see, what we can do. I think a lot of it's going to determine, obviously of what we own and what we may or may not own as far as whether it's a road by use or whether it's a town dedicated road. That's going to determine a lot. And then obviously, there's a cost that we would have to put together to see what it would cost or whether we widen it up on one side or both sides. I know the shoulders are, I think there are 13-foot lanes, I think, with the shoulders. So normally our roads are 26 feet wide in the subdivisions. Now that's what our spec is. So again, it's an old road, so chances are it's probably only a 12 or 13-foot lane with very small shoulders there.
Karen has a question for you, Rob.
A few years back, didn't we look at that for a speed reduction? Do you remember?
Yeah, Karen, I think what happened there, it wasn't necessarily a speed reduction. I believe that at one point, I'm not sure what the particulars were, but there was a audit of the actual speed limit of that road, and come to find out, probably when they pulled that road through, it was just determined at that time, probably by the town highway superintendent, that they only put it 30 miles an hour. It was never ran through the state, which obviously you know that we have to put all of the state determines the speed of our town roads. So they went back actually and they raised that road from 30 to 40 a few years back with, you know, the determination with the type of road, and the state came back and determined it was 40 miles an hour. So I think that's what happened a couple years ago.
I remember that.
Thank you, Rob. All right, so Jillian, it looks like we're going to do some research on this and see what we can do to try to widen that and see what the cost would be and where we can find the funds to take care of that. Which, with you know, with a lot of the infrastructure and so on that we're starting to receive, possibly, this could be a part of that. I don't know for sure.
Great. I appreciate it. And I'm happy to come back and do whatever I can on my end. I've got a pretty good contact system in our neighborhood. So, you know, if we can be of any help, we're happy to do it. But I think there's a lot of internal interest in getting that accomplished too.
Very good. Thank you, Jillian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jillian, before you go, I just wanted to say, and thank you, Supervisor, I didn't mean to tack on at the end.
No, go ahead.
This is Heather. Hi. I thank you so much for speaking and for bringing this up. And of course, it does, of course, align really well with the fact that we're having all kinds of conversations about the comprehensive plan. So if the counselors you spoke with haven't already, I'm sure they did, we'd love to encourage you to help us spread the word about the community survey, which is a part of the comprehensive planning process. We need input by June 1st. We also, of course, have opportunities for people to apply for the steering committee for the comprehensive plan. So we'd love to have you and your neighbors involved and to bring this conversation certainly into the larger conversation of the comprehensive plan.
Well, Heather, much to my husband's chagrin, I'm a serial joiner, so I am sure that that I will be as involved as I can be in that, because I think it's awesome what you guys are doing. I appreciate all of your hard work, and I am excited to see what comes out of Town of Manlius soon.
Very good. Thank you, Jillian.
Thank you.
Now, do we have anyone else who is on the open podium that has any new topics that they would like to discuss? I mean, we've had topics.
I do see that we have one hand raised, but it looks like they'd like to speak about Salt Springs Road, or is about the Salt Springs Water Project. So
yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, we'll get into that when we go back into the public hearing on that.
No, I think we're good for.
I don't see any other hands up.
Very good. All right, so I want to thank Jillian for taking the time, expressing her concerns. They're valid, there's no question about that.
Caitlin and I actually we met with them over in Fremont last weekend, and it was a great conversation. We had more than 10 people turn out, and, you know, it's...
Oh, 10 people.
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, it was nice. It was an overcast day. We were able to just have a nice, you know, casual chat in Jillian's driveway. And the general consensus is, you know, it's the same stuff we hear about every neighborhood. You know, we want our kids to be safe, speed limits, stop signs, the Bowman Road stuff. So, you know, especially as we get into the comprehensive plan, I think we'll be able to have a more comprehensive conversation about, you know, what can we be doing to make, you know, side streets and neighborhoods a little bit safer.
Yeah, I think, John, that the dream would be that corridor that goes to the canal, Burdick Street down to the town center, you know, I mean, that would be just really, I mean, of course, now we're talking county road, you know, so that just adds to the nuance of it all. So very good, thank you, John, and also Caitlin for meeting with them. Next we have item 4, which is approval of the minutes of April 14th.
Mr. Supervisor, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of April 14th.
I'll second.
Second, that's right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I forgot to ask if there was any discussion, but looks like that. So it's carried. Very good. Thank you. And item 5 is the approval of abstract number 9.
So, Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to approve abstract number 9 in the amount of $247,881.23. And I'll second that.
Second that?
Yeah.
Mr. Green? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carried. Very good. All right, our next item is the continuation of the public hearing on Skyridge Water District, which, again, this is, do we need a motion to go back into the public hearing, correct? Yeah, so we'll need a motion to do that, to go into the.
I'd be happy to make a motion, Mr. Supervisor, to reopen the public hearing on the Skyridge Water District. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. It's so good not to try to guess on the screen who's making a motion. It's good to be a person again. So, all right, just for everyone's information, I mean, we've had numerous comments. They've been documented, they've been posted on our website, and we have numerous responses and comments that have been made by many different people from different parts of the district. Many from Horseshoe, which is Skyridge, and then we have a few from Salt Springs, would actually be the next phase, you know, going into the joint districts with the town of Sullivan as well. So what I ask is that since we've heard from pretty much, I'd say, a lot of people, unless if we have anyone who would like to speak, who has something new that they would like to, or who hasn't commented yet, who are for or against, or just want to express their concerns, I ask them to step forward.
Mr. Supervisor, if you could just talk for a moment about a lot of the questions were answered, and if you could speak about the question and answer document that was posted on the website, or maybe Councilor Bollinger wants to speak to that. I know there were a lot of questions that were submitted in the Q&A when the public hearing was closed last time, and it appeared to me that those questions were transferred into a document that Barton and LaJudas prepared that was attached to our agenda.
Right, and I mean, I'm holding them. You don't want me to go through all of them?
No, I just think that we should make everyone aware that they're there, because at the end of the last public hearing, we did say that we would address them. So I think we should just let everyone know that that document was there. And
yes. Yep. In fact, Allison, we have 40 public comments that I'm holding in my hand, and that are questions and answers that I think have been adequately addressed in the best that we possibly could do. That I feel is that is transparent in nature of everything that they have asked that we've responded to. Sarah, did you want to add?
I just want to point out for people who may not have checked the agenda that this document that he's holding is embedded in the agenda.
Here,
Everybody can see
I'll go ahead. I have the agenda.
Oh, good.
So I can share that right to the Zoom screen. So I'll full size that, but you can see right here on the agenda, you go to townofmanlius.org, under government, you have the agenda center there. And so all of those answers and all those documents are right there under item 6. All of these are links that are clickable. You can open them up, go through, read, you know, at your leisure, you know, you can go through and read all of those responses.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the chart of responses is a summary of the comments that were made at the live public hearing. So
Right.
of people who were in favor or not in favor.
Yeah.
So that's So all of that information from the, if you missed the previous meeting, all that information is there.
Yeah.
And I believe we do have at least one person who has not spoken before who would like to speak.
Right, but Heather, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to say that I know that one of the people who spoke last time and asked that specific, and asked a follow-up question about trees, did not get the answer, the full answer, and we weren't in a place to answer about the number of trees disrupted in a really granular way, and asked me as someone who's involved with the tree commission to make sure we considered that when we were looking at our potential survey and inventory, tree inventory. So I just wanted to let people know that when you follow up again, it's not that we don't just dismiss anything you have to say. We continue to follow your questions, but we also want you to be respectful of the fact that we're trying to provide as much information as possible while keeping the process moving. So
Yeah, and I do remember seeing that an email too, I think.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
So we, Sarah had mentioned, we do have a, you can see it pretty good. Looks like it's Dave and
Louis Morocco.
Louis Morocco.
Yes, I can move them. I can give them the ability to speak right now.
Oh, good.
Hello, everyone. David Morocco here and my son, Louis Morocco.
Hi, Dave. Louis.
How are you?
Dave, just a reminder, and I know you've been to these before, we will give you, at least 5 minutes because I don't know how many other people want to speak, but go ahead.
I'll be short. So I know I haven't gone public and I just joined in the last meeting, the start of the public hearing or partway through. I don't know, maybe it was the second meeting. Was that the first meeting, the public hearing of 2 weeks ago?
That was the second.
Second. Okay, so I missed the first. So I got a hold of the second. Months ago, I met with the engineers and Sarah Bollinger at the property that we acquired 57 acres on the corner of McClenton and Salt Springs, and then the property across the street, which is the house and the horse farm, and I have my horses in the back. So it's a total of 71 acres with houses. We met at the property months ago, maybe a half a year ago, Sarah. I've lost track of time, and we discussed the water tower and a location of it, and I was all in support of it. I've learned a lot more. I want to learn more and get more answers. I know there were some people asking some very educated questions the last meeting about the expense, and I think a lot of that's been printed and I've seen it, but it's a long process. I believe to go through this whole process of putting a new water district in, and it'll take time, and there's a lot of answers that can be, people will have a lot of time to question and get answers over that period. Let's just say it's a couple of years even. So I'm speaking in favor of this project because this is such a beautiful area up here, and it has so much potential for residential over the next 10 to 20 years. There's beautiful homes that have been built up here. People keep really big lots, and I think it's very desirable. It will be very desirable once a water district is put in. We've had so many problems with our wells. Menakheim, who you mentioned the last meeting, was the seller who you discussed about how many wells he had to drill. I think he went down 500 feet. Things were collapsing. It was a disaster, and he was trying to just do his hops farm. We're farming that land. That's my hay for my horses, and I want to continue doing that. I didn't buy it for a big investment and make lots of money. I bought it to, it's such a beautiful property. And I think all of Salt Springs, there's many lots and beautiful areas. And I think there's a lot of potential, for 20, 30 more homes over a period of 10 or 15 years. And they would spur because of this water district. And I'm totally in support, and I'll do anything including using my property for the water tower. It's currently owned by Menachem, but I'm working on purchasing the remainderment of the lot, the 140 acres. So I just, again, speaking in support and would like to see this move forward. And I'm all on board and helping, like I told Sarah and the engineer at that meeting half a year ago or so. So that's all I have to say.
Very good. Thank you, David. As a reminder for everyone, this is the 202B law, which is really directed to Skyridge improvements. The Salt Springs is actually more phase 2 of the process. So what we're really, this public hearing, even though we've heard from different people from all parts of that area, we've focused on Skyridge currently. And in order for those improvements, we need to set this up so that we can apply for the funding for those improvements. Once that's done, if that's approved, then the next step is to get petitions for Salt Springs Water District as well. So that's a whole second phase of which those are decisions are made based on the assessed values and the petitions that are signed. So if there's any other comments regarding Skyridge, you know, I welcome those right now. The Salt Springs, you know, I mean, we've heard a lot, you know, 40 some odd between all of them.
So currently we have no hands raised and we have no questions in the Q&A that have yet to be answered.
Okay. If that's the case, if we want to make a motion to come out of the public hearing, we could do that.
We just had a hand raised.
Oh, that was Heather's.
No, not right. Another one.
Yeah. Okay, very good.
All right. All right, Alexander?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
My name is Alex Bem. I serve as the Executive Director at Clear Path for Veterans. And first of all, I'd want to thank the town supervisor and all the town councilors for your time this evening and for all that you do for Clear Path and those who especially who have come out to visit us in the past couple months. We just wanted to go, you know, on record at this time to say we are absolutely in favor of this proposed water district for several reasons. One of them being, you know, our daily operations. It's a critical necessity to be able to have suitable water for our facility to house our programs for the men and women who have served our country. We also are bursting at the seams, to be quite honest with you, and do see the need to expand our infrastructure. And currently with the water and the well access on the property, we're not able to do so. So we will be falling short to meet the needs of veterans and military members and those family members who come to our campus to receive our necessary programs and services. And again, I just wanted to thank everybody. I'll yield my time and stay short today. But, you know, I can give you an example of last week. We had a major well issue and we had to shut down the facility for a day and a half in order to remedy what was happening with our water. And that is happening more often for our property. And so even without beyond looking at a possible expansion of our buildings and facilities to meet the need in the community we're serving, right now it's becoming an issue to sustain just our normal operations with the 15,000 square foot facility we're using the water for. So we're always available to answer, you know, any questions and be part of the process as we have been before and all along. But again, we just want to make sure that this was entered into the record, showing our support for the water district.
Thank you, Alex. Good to hear from you. It's been a while. And we'll certainly take all of that into consideration when we get that far too. You know, that's the town of Sullivan side and part of the town of Manlius where they're located. So, John, anyone else?
I have a Maggie with her hand up.
Maggie. Okay.
Go ahead, Maggie.
Yes, and I'm on the town of Sullivan side. I understand, if I understand correctly, Horseshoe Lane is going to get adequate water no matter what else happens. Is that true?
I'm not, no, that's, that all depends on how all of the funding comes through, as well as how the water district is, whether it's approved or not for the whole Salt Springs Water District, which would include both towns. But there's no, I mean, they're already in a water district, they already have adequate water, but they're trying to update and improve their water services right now.
Correct, but in my reading of the documents, there's actually going to be 3 separate water districts, one of which is Skyridge or Horseshoe Lane, the one in the town of Manlius and the one in the town of Sullivan. If things get voted down in either one of the town districts, Horseshoe Lane will, even though it's more expensive, they will get repairs to their water system. The funding will be found and that will happen. Is that true?
I don't think that is accurate. No, because in order for them to do that, Maggie, we would have to have a line run all the way, from Eagle Hill, all the way to the town of Manlius. And without the full funding and all 3 water districts contributing, that won't happen. They'll have to stay with their current program and just do whatever upgraded needs that they will have to do with their current system.
Okay, but their current system will be upgraded as a result of all this effort. Yes or no?
Well, it wouldn't be upgraded to the water district line. Okay, it would be upgraded to their current system.
Okay, all right.
That's totally on them. That would be their responsibility alone.
Okay, that's the answer I was looking for. Obviously, thank you. It's hard to extract that yes or no. That was the answer, because my basic issue with running the water line is the expansion of homes and the additional building that will be done. Clear Path obviously wants to expand. I hear rumors of houses, I hear rumors of a hotel. And the same with the golf course, which is no longer an active golf course. The gates are closed. The property has been zoned residential, and all that flat land down on the flat area of Salt Springs, I can see a lot of Ryan homes going in there once there's water. Salt Springs Road will look like Route 92 before you get done with it. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Maggie.
Wanted to put in another
Okay.
plug.
Yeah, right. Believe me, I was thinking that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's just it. We want to have these conversations about what residents want.
And it looks like Mr. Messinio has his hand up as well.
I only asked Joe that if you ask a new question, Joe, and not, something that we've already answered for you, could you do that, please?
Mr. Messinio, you're able to speak now. Go ahead. Oh, you have to unmute.
Okay, are we on?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, first of all, I'm not in support of this, and to try to direct my question specifically at the Skyridge part of this, a question I promised, you make me promise I won't ask a question again, but I've never really gotten an answer why the why the folks in the Horseshoe Lane subdivision have not adequately reserved to repair their own water system, and how it seems to be so pressing that the rest of us pay for it. That really has never been answered. Many people have asked the question, and I don't seem to be getting an answer. So if there's a comment, I'd like to hear it.
Joe, in order for the improvements to be made for Skyridge, which is what we're talking about now, we need proper funding for that, for them. And that proper funding will dovetail possibly for the Salt Springs Water District to create that district as too. That's not, unless that goes through, then Skyridge is solely responsible for upgrading their current system, which we did present to them. I'm going to say, what, 7 or 8 years ago, Dan? And we gave them 3 options, and through a bond, which I think was probably a 20 or 30 years different ones that we looked at. And at that point, their decision was not to make a decision, and so they have just been going along with the improvements that they have been funding each year for minor, whether it's the pump stations that need repair work and that type of thing. So their funding is maintaining what they have right now, but they have not gone that extra step for major improvements that Aqua had recommended about 7 years ago.
So in other words, they have not adequately reserved, and again, these districts are supposed to reserve some capital beyond pure maintenance because everything wears out. So so their decision was no decision, which was a decision to do nothing, but to continue pursue another 90 some odd people who would have to fund the necessary trunk line to get to Skyridge for people who I think you'll find in the petition largely don't need or want the water.
Yeah, Joe, that's partially true. And whenever they've needed additional funding for improvements, they've increased their contributions to their district. So it's not like this, they've just been paying the same amount for 40 years. Each time there's major improvements that have to be made, we have sat down with the HOA president or the ordinance, they're not really an HOA, and we discussed whatever those increases are going to be. This is just another direction to improve it where they would have water directly sent to them from a water line. So this is just one step. And
if I could just jump in, I think the question here is, I understand, why is one water district affecting other people, and I hear you, but I still pay my taxes to pay for the police. If the police don't come to my house and, provide me direct services the same way we pay for highway, if my road doesn't get paved this year, it gets paved at some point when it's needed. And I think the fact that there will be a petition for the Salt Springs district, if those residents do not want the district, there will not be a district.
Right.
If the residents want the district, there will be a district.
Well,
what we're talking about right now is Skyridge.
Your logic is flawed because the entire town of Manlius pays for the police. You're asking 90 some odd people to pay for this. There's an extreme difference. It's not a parallel here. So I know.
I think you just made the point there. We are asking. There will be a petition. It will be a conversation amongst the neighbors, and we're going to decide through a petition, through a democratic process, whether or not the district is something that the people that live there currently desire.
Yeah, and again, not to debate, John, but it's 128 EDUs, I believe. Is that correct? So it's not 90 people. But you're looking at 3 different districts, Joe. But tonight, we need to move on because we've addressed your questions numerous times, and I appreciate, your concern on this,
Okay, that's, thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Yep, thank you.
I would just encourage everybody to read through the extensive questions and answers. I think it'd be very instructive for everyone. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
So, Taylor had his hand up. And I actually had not promoted any of the Barton and LaJudas folks in, so, but it looks like he lowered his hand. We do have,
I know better. I think the
I think it's time to close the hearing and invite. the
Yeah,
public.
we made.
oh,
we said-
okay.
Q&A.
Let me just check though. We do have some in the Q&A. Andrew Bushnell says, at the last meeting, it was mentioned that the water district would have to pass in 2 ways in each of the 3 separate areas, Salt Springs, Horseshoe Lane, and Sullivan. Please clarify and delineate which lots are included in each.
Well, we have a map that includes all of those.
And that's, I believe that's included in the
It's,
agenda.
the whole, if you need that kind of background information, it's on the Barton and LaJudas website, which is linked from our website, and all that background information, including the maps are there.
Okay. Deborah Tooker says Horseshoe Lane has a reserve, but probably not enough for a whole new system.
Right.
Thank you.
Ronnie Morgenstern says Horseshoe residents have been talking with the town of Manlius for years about water, and we have been paying for water and for potential improvements.
Right.
And Faith Binder submitted 10 years ago, Horseshoe Lane agreed to work with the town. Town didn't explore the possibility until Clear Path and Sullivan required water.
Actually, we did look at running a line, and it was like, to Skyridge, and it was about $5 million just for that.
It's a
So we
similar
did.
situation that a lot of
Yeah.
people end up with,
Yeah.
broadband.
Right.
Their neighbor gets broadband, but in order to extend the utilities, they're gonna get charged $100,000. And, until we have capacity to
Yeah.
actually go forward with a full project
Yeah.
and, make the cost reasonable for everybody, we don't have those options. And now that we do have those options, we're trying to find out if people want this.
Right.
Is it okay to come out of the?
Yeah,
motion
go ahead.
now?
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to come out of the public hearing and to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And carried?
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes.
I remember when, I think Ken from Barton Religious spoke about the project. He highlighted something that struck me then and continues to sort of linger over this whole conversation, which is that there is a period of time we're in now where infrastructure funding is at probably its ripest moment. And so if our timing has to align. And so, just like you said, if the timing was $5 million with a certain level of capacity
Right.
at one point,
Right.
and with other partners from other directions trying to make the line happen, and funding that exists, it's still up to the people, but to move the process forward during a time when it's most
Beneficial.
that's most beneficial
Yeah.
and best supported,
Yeah.
is compelling.
Yeah, and, let's see how it ends up, but we have to make this first step, if we're
So
gonna
I
do that.
believe if Mr. Andino can join us, I believe or Mr. Botar, I believe we
Yeah.
have to do seeker.
Sure, yeah,
And so while we're getting that set up, we did have one Q&A come in right as we were closing the public hearing. Joe Dodd, how many new homes we propose, water main tank and PS be able to serve? It is noted on the public comment Q&A page on the project website that future development can be accommodated on the order of 500 EUs. Is that correct?
So I would say to that, there's still no sewer in the area, so the likelihood of 500 homes is really not feasible. The homes will still have to have lots large enough to manage septic. So we're talking about, a few houses may go in here and there, which will obviously lower the cost for all the other residents, but it'll be very similar to the homes that are there now.
And then, so
Good point.
Joe Dodd following up that with, wow, that would be a lot of new homes in development along the Salt Springs corridor. And then James Sinio did leave a comment. Please tell the citizens the response from Congressman Katko's office regarding an earmark for the project.
so,
We did hear back from Congressman
Yeah.
Katko, and he did not select this project for federal funds.
right.
And then we do have a comment that some people are having trouble hearing, so if you can just project to your best ability. We'll try to bring everybody a little closer together as we move forward.
Yeah, let's do that. All right, so yeah, we need to, as Taylor or Rich on, so we can go into the seeker.
Looks like we've got Taylor here.
I have promoted Taylor, Rich, Andino and Olivia to panelists, and I
Ken Knutson
cannot,
might be there as well, Allison.
I'm sorry?
Ken Knutson might be in the wings
Yes,
as well.
let me grab him as well and promote him to panelist. And Olivia and Rich, if you're on, you have the ability to speak and we can hear you.
Stop over. Let them get it done.
This is all new, you know? This is all new.
All process, yeah. Zoom was weird first.
Oh.
All right, so it looks like, yep, there's Ken and
Did we want to run through the seeker first? Was that what I was hearing?
Yes, Taylor, if you could, unless you want to.
Okay. So just to recap on the seeker, that's the environmental review. We started that process back in April with a part 1 of the environmental assessment form. With that, the board passed a resolution with the intent to be lead agency. We sent out coordinated review documents to interested and involved agencies. They have 30 days to respond and comment or even object to the lead agency intent. We did receive comments back from Madison County Health Department and Highway, and same with Onondaga County Highway and Health Department, no objections. So our 30-day window has now closed, which allows us to go to parts 2 and 3 of the seeker. And I do apologize, Allison, I think I have one more B&L person, Greta Day. She's an environmental scientist.
sure, absolutely.
She might be available as well. But with that, parts 2 and 3 of the seeker, this takes a more in-depth review of the project. Part 2, as you'll probably see in that package, has a list of detailed questions, asking about various things of impacts on land or groundwater, and then if we expect the project to have, a low or moderate to high impact. For those questions that we checked, moderate to high impact on the project, part 3 of the seeker, which I believe might be a little bit out of order in your package there. I think it's page 37 of the PDF that I have from the agenda, but that's the supporting information and description of how we anticipate to mitigate any of those impacts that again we checked in parts 2. So I'm just going to provide a very brief summary. That part 3 document's about 23 pages long, so I'm just going to hit the cliff notes here and certainly let us know if the board has any questions. So I'm going to focus on just the parts that we checked, a moderate to high impact. So for example, impacts on land, the project will have about 8 acres of ground disturbance with the pipeline installation. A stormwater pollution prevention plan will be prepared detailing suitable erosion control measures for the project. The project will result in a net increase in impervious area of about 1/2 acre. That's of course for the tank and pump station. And that SWIP, that stormwater pollution prevention plan, that will address construction and maintenance of any temporary or permanent stormwater controls that might be required for the project. Impacts on surface water. We're at the planning stage right now, but should we be able to move forward to a design phase after district formations, wetland delineation would be conducted throughout the project corridor to define wetland boundaries and streams. Those impacts will be avoided typically for a pipeline project through trenchless technologies such as directly drilling the water main or just avoiding those areas as a whole. Temporary disturbed areas will be restored to their pre-construction grades and cover types once the project is completed, and no permanent impacts to wetlands or water bodies are anticipated. Impacts on flooding. The project will again result in that net increase of approximately 0.5 acres of new impervious area again, that stormwater pollution prevention plan, will address any short-term or long-term, mitigation efforts that we might need for that half of an acre. That stormwater pollution prevention plan, that is another final design thing that we'd be preparing. So again, we're in the planning stage and we're just not ready for that document. Impacts on plants and animals, the proposed project should only have a small impact. All efforts will be made to reduce or eliminate, impacts to clearing. We talked about trees just briefly earlier, and following all federal and state guidelines related to ecological impacts and required review processes. A habitat assessment will be completed during the project's design phase to identify suitable habitat for reported species that might be within the project area, and to document the presence of additional sensitive ecological resources. Tree clearing will be restricted if there is any between November 1st and March 31st to prevent any adverse impacts to Indiana and northern long-eared bats, which are listed on some of the endangered species lists. Impacts on agricultural resources. We do have some agricultural district properties both in Onondaga County and Madison County. Generally the water main will be installed within the road right away. Of course, that will front some of those properties, but we do not anticipate any adverse impacts to those ag district properties. Impacts on aesthetic resources. Some of the questions we've had regarding the new water storage tank. That is approximately going to be 60 feet tall. That is dependent on the location where that tank can be sited. There is potential for it to be visible from surrounding properties. There is a hedgerow and a tree line that should help to shade and protect that from a visual standpoint. Impacts on historic and archaeological properties. The project was submitted to the New York State Historic Preservation Office for their review. That coordination with SHPO is still ongoing. We are anticipating of completing a phase 1 archaeological survey of the corridor. Impacts on transportation, certainly during construction, there will be temporary impacts to, vehicular traffic throughout the project area. Once the work is complete, there shouldn't be any further impacts. Impacts on energy, with the pump station, there will be a small increase in energy usage to operate that system. But there are no modifications to the existing electrical utility system that are anticipated at this time. Again, that will be further evaluated during the design phase. Impacts on noise, odor, and light. Temporary impacts during construction, may exceed the ambient noise level. Again, this is only temporary and anticipated during construction. The pump station and water storage tank, they might have some minor exterior lighting just for safety and security concerns. And that covers the highlights of part 3.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor.
So I'd like to make a motion. We've already declared the meeting.
I think we did that.
So I'd like to make a motion to whatever that says.
Issue a negative declaration.
Make a negative declaration of this type
1 action.
Type 1 action.
It's either an unlisted or type 1. It doesn't either way. I will say it's a type 1.
Okay.
which is I.
I think that this is Rich Andino. I think Taylor prepared a seeker resolution for the board. I think Barton and LaJudas prepared a written resolution. Does the board have a copy of that?
Yes.
Yes.
Should be on page 28 of the PDF of the agenda package.
Perfect.
So I would make a motion to introduce the resolution provided to us to make a negative declaration with regard to
Oh, all right.
this action.
Is that what
Do you want me to read it, read the title of it?
Sure.
Okay. This is the resolution determining that the proposed Skyridge Salt Springs Joint Water Project is a type 1 action and will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment.
So that's the, you want to
That's
second
your
that?
motion?
That's my motion.
I'm seconding.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried? Okay.
Then the resolution with regard to the 202B, and again,
Yep.
for the people here, this is to allow the Skyridge District to move forward with funding. We will now move to empowering everybody else to make their own decisions based on the petition process, but we can't introduce the petition process until we complete this process.
And then to be clear, so if we approve this to expand there, but then the petition does not go well, then all of this is.
They go back to the
We
drawing.
go back to where they are originally. Right. So that's why I said this is, there's like 3 steps to
Yeah.
do it, you know. So, and again, I think, Town of Sullivan is waiting for this process before they move forward with their, district as well.
So I would like to make a motion to adopt the public interest order 202B Skyridge Water District that is also included in our materials.
I'm happy to second it.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, very good. So we got through that.
You're okay?
I just wanted to make sure it's specific.
Oh, yes,
This
yes.
is Skyridge.
It's specific.
Yeah.
Yes. So, all right, well, I think we're good, right? Taylor? Ken?
Yep, for this step, I think that completes it for this meeting. And as the board members mentioned, that allows us to move forward with the petition process for Salt Springs Road.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I really want to applaud our residents who have come forward in many avenues here, you know, to speak their concerns. That's what this is all about, and I really want to thank them for doing that. It really gives us a lot to decipher and listen to and take into consideration as we move forward.
And I think for the petitioning process,
Yep.
these videos, these questions, we don't want people having to decide whether or not they want to sign a petition based on, hey, will you sign this petition? We've got a ton of data here. We
Right.
encourage everybody who's able to sign the petition, do your homework, keep asking questions, but we're not going into this blind. And so I think everyone at this point is pretty well informed.
And I think, Sarah, the petition process needs to be completed by July 1, is that right?
Yes, we're not, to Heather's point, we want to keep us on schedule for this because the opportunity for funding is probably as great as it's been in a generation.
Right.
So once they're done petitioning, what happens, like, we get those and then we have to.
Yeah, what happens is we look at what the assessment weight is of the vote, I guess you would say, you know, between, we have to have 51%, but then we just have to, as a board, decide what percentage we feel is the adequate percentage to approve the whole thing, you know, so.
And then Sullivan does the same.
And Sullivan will do the same thing.
When will the petition be sent? Or like, do we know what the process is for that?
So just to clarify for everybody, we are not 100%. The petition will absolutely be here at Town Hall for anybody to stop in and sign.
Right.
But we do expect some volunteers to also reach out to their neighbors for signatures. So there will be a hybrid process of signatures, but they will be physical signatures. So there will be a process during the month of June for the people who are potentially in the district on both the Manlius and the Sullivan side to actually sign a piece of paper.
And to be clear, that does not include the Skyridge Water District
Correct.
residents. It's strictly the Salt Springs Water District.
So the Skyridge people are done.
Yeah,
Now we
right.
know to Salt Springs.
Great.
Mr.
Okay.
Supervisor, I have a question.
Yes.
So with the petition process,
there has to be information on it, so people know what they're signing. Where is that information coming from?
That's actually the whole map plan and report, it's this
The
whole thing is
engineer.
out here.
Right, but then, so the engineer has developed it.
Yes, yeah.
And then who will be getting the petitions, or getting
Distributed?
them signed, distributed and signed?
Well, we're looking for individuals that are,
That live in the
that
neighborhood.
live in the neighborhood that are willing to pass petitions based on all the information that they're gonna have to share with everybody.
So will there be like a notice sent out to all the residents to say?
So,
Yeah.
good, Ken, please help us.
So in order to create a water district, in this case, under section 12, article 12 of the town law, and that's the way this is going. There's two ways to do it. There's either under article 12 or under article 12A. The people in the district that has been mapped, there's a map plan report that's been filed. The people in that district would be allowed to bring a petition to their neighbors, and if more than 50% of the value of the properties within that within the district that has been designated or has been outlined in the map plan and report, if more than 50% of the people, based on the assessment of the properties, and our assessor will have to review it with the town clerk to determine whether or not more than 50% of the owners have signed the petition, then that would in and of itself allow the project to move forward, because there's ample evidence that more than 51% of the people in the district support that project. If we did it the other way, which would be on our own motion, which is we would have adopted the plan and report, then that would be subject to permissive referendum.
But we're not doing it.
That's right.
We're doing, this isn't,
It's being generated by the people that live in the district.
this is for the people who live in the district to let us know their choice.
51% is not a lot. I mean, personally, I'd rather see it at 70%.
But that's the state law. State law says 51% or more of the people who are in the district who petition for
I
a
understand
water.
that, but still, 51% is.
Does the
Well-
town board accept this signature,
Is higher.
or is that just questions?
Say that again.
Does the town board have to accept this signature?
Well, we have to, the town clerk will have to certify that those signatures are proper signatures of the people that are in the district and ultimately make that decision. I think if Rich is still on.
Yeah, he sort of explained to us in one of our meetings, Tim, I don't know if but he said many of the municipalities set a percentage that they, I guess in a resolution form, that we would say it would need to be more than 51 and be maybe 60.
I am not aware of any provision that would allow you to do that.
Oh,
So, but again, I don't know if Rich is off the phone.
Yeah, I think
He's the attorney on this one.
yeah.
I don't see Rich anymore. I do have Taylor.
Taylor.
Yeah, but I think that is actually our topic for next meeting.
Yeah.
So I think we will get the
Well,
process
yeah,
of the
let's prepare
communication
something.
and all that stuff.
It probably makes sense that we prepare some kind
Yeah,
of
we'll get more
infographic. That way we can put it on Facebook and just let everybody know step 1, step 2, step 3.
Yeah.
These are the outcomes.
And it would be
Okay.
great to see what they're seeing, like the petition.
He's on the list, on the agenda. I don't know if Rob is still here.
Rob's here.
Yeah, Rob's here.
Okay, because Rob, okay, did you have anything for us tonight, Rob?
I'm all set tonight. Only one quick note, got an email late this afternoon about the CHIPS letters are being sent out today. Hopefully we should be looking in the mail for Friday or Monday.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. And we don't have anyone here from planning and development. So, Tim, do you have anything for us?
The only thing I have is just an update on the engineering contract with JR. I've reviewed it. I've made some comments. I've provided them to Sarah today. So I think by the next meeting, we'll be in a position to, and you've already.
MJ.
NJ, what I said.
So we're on Dallas.
It's Joel.
It's Joel.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry.
No, thank you.
But, so that's the update,
Okay.
and so, like I said,
by June 1st, we should have this in place. Good, thank you. All right, Allison, do you have anything for us tonight? You got enough going on there, right?
All
Thank you.
set.
All right, very good. And the chief's not available this evening. Ann, do you have anything for us? No, okay.
And I have something, believe it or not, under the chief's
Oh,
monitor,
okay.
not from the chief, but from one of his officers.
Oh, all right.
I am really lucky enough to be the parent of a child who goes to Fayetteville Elementary. So Officer Palmer happened to give this ribbon to me today through Sterling for National Law Enforcement Week.
Oh, yes.
They talked about the history that comes with this ribbon, that in 1962, John F. Kennedy signed a law designating May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day.
Okay.
And the week of the 15th falls in as National Police Week. The law was amended in 1994 by President Clinton, directing that all government buildings fly their American flag at half-staff on May 15th every year.
Okay.
I don't know if we do that, but so.
We will.
We will.
It's a Saturday, but we'll do it.
Oh, thank you. And then National Police Week pays special recognition to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. And this year, 394 names will be added to the National Law Enforcement Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C. on May 13th, 2021 at 8 p.m. That's tomorrow. A virtual ceremony will take place to honor the 2021 fallen heroes.
Oh, very good.
So I just wanted to thank Officer Palmer for, being an engaged officer and for giving this to me. I was really touched, and and I'm happy to share this. I'm not usually the person talking about National Police Week, I know, but I think it's very important for us to recognize it.
No, thank you very much for sharing that. I
Yeah,
appreciate
my
that.
pleasure.
And you are on next for the comprehensive plan.
Well, I will
Anything
just,
more to say?
nothing more except to say that the clock is ticking and
Yes.
we need your responses. And so far, and this is just a credit to BNL for designing something that really is engaging and gets people to fill it out in total. We appreciate that. The survey has already after its first day had 45 responses.
Oh, wow.
So we would like to have hundreds of responses, upwards. I mean, I'd love to have at least 1,000 responses if we could manage it. So I wanted to let you know how we're distributing the survey. We are sending it out through the school districts. In the case of Fayetteville Manlius School District, we are using the flyer distribution, digital distribution called Peach Jar. Thank you to Peggy for that support to get that out there. With ESM, we don't use Peach Jar, but we will make sure it is available for them to distribute to families, maybe by email if there's a method.
Yeah.
We are grateful to the libraries and to the senior centers for sharing it. And we will also be advertising in the Eagle Bulletin, both digitally and in print form for the next 2 issues to show you the actual announcement, how to get to the website, but there's a QR code. So welcome to QR code world. If you have a smartphone, all you have to do is open up your camera and make the camera hover over the QR code.
Oh, okay.
And your smartphone will tell you, go to this website, you just press that and it'll open up the survey. You can also download the survey and we will have copies that you can email us, but please fill that out by June 1st. We also have available on the town's website through the comprehensive planning link, the steering committee application, which is also due June 1st. Thank you.
Pretty good. So
And we want a diversity of people to apply for the steering committee, so if you haven't been involved yet, but you're interested, don't be shy, feel free to apply.
like a commercial, right? Don't be shy. Very good. You just make that up. Very good. Thank you, everyone. That's and it's like getting the menu now. You just put your over the thing.
I have never used QR codes so much as I have in the last few months.
Oh, I know. I know, it's crazy.
They're here.
All right, and I know Councilor Kreisel is.
Did you get?
Yes, I got it. So I have an update.
You do, okay, thank you, Elaine.
From Sustainable Manlius. So we had our monthly meeting last week, and we are still working on the clean energy communities and the climate smart communities program. And we are launching 2 community campaigns for community solar and heat smart. So there'll be more information coming forward on that. So stay tuned.
good, thank you. And Councilor Ballinger, you have
Yes,
update
so,
on the solar farms to the plan.
so in case you haven't been avidly following the planning board, there have been a number of approvals for commercial solar farms in the town of Manlius over the past several years. We've had them before, onesie, twosies, but now it seems like every month there's another application.
Right.
So the planning board has asked for greater direction from the town board on how we want them to manage this sudden influx of so many solar farm requests. Some of which, or at least one of which, is considerably larger than sort of an average solar farm. So trying to understand how we feel about that. And so they've asked for a working group. The planning board has nominated 3 members from them, and they'd like us to nominate 2 or 3 members from us. We will get in some expert people, get a set of brains about this issue, make some recommendations, and they have put off their current applicants to June 14th to give us time for this educational process in between. And I do want to note, it appears the town of Casnovia has the same issue because they are having a public hearing on a moratorium on solar farms because they are also struggling with figuring out how do we do this. So we believe there's an opportunity here for us all to learn. This will inform the comprehensive planning process because this is not going to go away.
Right.
Solar is a very low impact, high value response for vacant land, and we want to make sure Manlius is doing the right thing about it. So I'm seeking a volunteer.
Oh, potentially, but my question was like, I know we've gotten so many proposals and applications for them, but none of them have actually been
Correct.
built. So how does, I guess that would be something the committee would.
That is one of the things the planning board is concerned about. 2 of the candidates have said they are ready to break ground this summer,
Okay.
but we have not yet actually seen it.
Or we may even want to think about a moratorium,
Mhm.
6 months or a year,
Well,
until this,
that's up to us to.
well, the fact that we're a little light in the codes enforcing
At the moment.
at the moment. So,
Yeah,
Well, I know-
I think that's one of the
concerned,
others.
I'm concerned about that.
And as you know, Chairman Lupia did reach out to us in the comprehensive planning that they wanted to get involved. To
Yeah.
have more direction. So this sort of interim working group would,
And it might,
Suffice
and the
it.
recommendation might be to suspend operations for a certain amount of time while we get some sort of.
Yeah, wait
additional
till next
information.
season, or perhaps, once we've gotten into the comprehensive plan process.
and we probably have to move fairly fast because obviously there's a lot of funding and that they're
Yeah.
getting.
Right, they are taking advantage of,
Right.
the same way that you mentioned before, there's programs encouraging them to do this now.
Exactly. So it's an interesting market for that. The market is responding, and it's important for us to not, completely roll over. And the point that these haven't been built yet means that we need to understand the real impact. And we thought we would be able to experience it as they were being built, and without that information, it's good
And
for
I
us to
think
be
that was
discussing it.
something that came up in the planning board is this, it's a law that, they can't be built within a mile of each other. And one of the issues is that the law is written that it's existing solar projects. So how do we follow that law when none of them have been built yet? Is it the site has been permitted for the use, or is it that construction's done? So I think the working group is a great idea.
Okay, very good.
So are you, okay, so Elaine has volunteered.
Right away.
Do you want to or not?
I would consider it, but I think we should ask Caitlin.
Okay.
Yeah,
Solar
she's not
Kate
here,
wants
so-
an option probably.
Sure, she's not here, so put her right on the bottom.
She's chair, she would like to know, she'll do everything.
I'm sure she's watching, so Caitlin, you've been volunteering.
Yeah, we know it's hard for you to stay away.
So we will connect with a time that works for the 3 people from the planning board and
Yeah.
get in a couple of people. We've already reached out to somebody in the business to get sort of the commercial side of an opinion, and then also to go with the planning board for their knowledge, which they have.
And I'm sure we can get some assistance from like the regional planning board and stuff like that to get a better idea of what's happening all around.
And we did have a resident, you recall, Sarah, that helped us when Rich and John were putting that first code together with solar, and I can't think of his name right now, but maybe I can get that information.
Okay, that would be
Might be able to help out.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sounds great.
all right. All set with that?
All set with that.
Okay. All right, I only have a couple of things here tonight. The first one is ZBA Chairman KP Kelly expressed interest of stepping down as the chairman. And I have in my hand his formal notice of resignation dated May 6th. He would like to have someone else step into his place, of which I have been in contact with Judy Solomon, who's on the ZBA, and has expressed interest. And I believe the ZBA members are supporting her in that respect. So we just need to make a motion to appoint Judy as the chairman.
Do we have to accept?
Oh, we have to
Chairman
accept the
Kelly?
resignation first. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to reluctantly
I know.
accept KP Kelly's resignation
Okay.
as zoning chair. He's done a great job and appreciate all of his service.
Good.
We'll miss him.
I'd be happy to second it,
Second that.
and also with thanks for service.
Yes, I agree with all of that. And, yes.
He'll still be on the.
He's still going to be on he's still on, he's just going to be not as chairman. He's still a member, yes, he's still finishing out his term.
Yeah.
So thank you for clarifying that, yeah. So all in favor?
Aye.
Carried, very good. And next, we need a motion to appoint Judy Solomon as the chairman of the ZBA.
And that's to finish
Chairperson
out
of the ZBA.
the current term. Basically,
Yes, and finish out, which will be December 31st, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to make a motion to appoint Judy Salomone as the chair of the zoning board of appeals
Very good.
through December 31st.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Very good. The last thing I have is my supervisor's report, which I think you've all seen that. It is just one of them, but you've seen all the three reports, the balance sheet, actual budget, and so on. So I just need a motion to accept that.
Mr. Supervisor, I'll make a motion to submit your report for April.
Okay. Yes, April 2021.
2021.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and carried. And I don't have it on this page, but we need a motion to adjourn.
Oh, before we do that,
Oh,
I just
sorry.
wanted to remind everyone, I'm sorry I didn't do this before, that the school budget votes are
Oh,
on
right,
Tuesday,
right,
May
yeah.
18th. So both ESM and FM have their school budget votes, so please visit both their websites for details.
Okay.
And yeah, I think it's important because certainly it's a big part of their tax
Yeah.
bill, so they
Yes.
should be voting.
People
And
can,
absentee ballots are available. They're not automatic this year, but you can ask the
Oh.
district to send you an absentee.
like the old way we used to do it. All right, very good. And now I need a motion to adjourn.
Elaine makes the motion.
John second.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
It's not midnight yet.
Carried. Very good. Hey,
Wow.
good job. Yeah, we
That
got,
was great.
hopefully we all spoke loud enough.
So I'm gonna stop the broadcast right now. So what I'm gonna do is